From Sudan, let's give you an update from Russia's invasion of Ukraine now. We had drone attacks in Kiev yesterday, subjecting residents to gunfire and explosions, and a fourth attack on the capital in as many days. Witnesses said they heard gunfire and repeated heavy explosions near the city center just after 8 p.m. One eyewitness said the drone was seen going down in an area near Dynamo Football Stadium and the bank of the Dnipro River just outside the city center. Local authorities have declared an alert for both the capital and the surrounding area. Officials are saying that at least one drone was downed after anti-aircraft units went into action during the raid. The gunfire and explosions went on for about 20 minutes. The leader of Russia's Wagner Group has threatened to withdraw his troops from the Ukrainian city of Bakhmut in a row over ammunition. Russia has been trying to capture that city for months now, despite its questionable strategic value. Yevgeny Prigozhin also pinned the decision squarely on the defense ministry, saying that Mr. Shoigu, where is the ammunition? Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov have often been the focus of Prigozhin's anger. The Wagner boss said his forces had agreed to stay in Bakhmut until May the 10th to allow Russia mark Tuesday's Victory Day celebrations. Only last week, he told a Russian pro-war blogger that the Wagner fighters in Bakhmut were down to their last days of supplies of bullets and even needed thousands of rounds of ammunition. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has pledged to destroy Russian evil before handing out watches to wounded Ukrainian soldiers at a Dutch military base as part of his surprise visit to the Netherlands. During his visit to the military base near Utrecht, the president met a handful of soldiers who were undergoing rehabilitation treatment in the Netherlands after suffering severe wounds and fighting Russian forces. He also met dozens of others who were being trained in the Dutch military, including a learning of the use of Patriot missile defense systems. Mr. Zelensky viewed equipment, including armored military cranes and mobile hospitals there.
The work of your specialists, forensic experts, and who really help to investigate Russian war crimes and collect necessary evidence to bring them to the main thing, to justice. All this brings our victory closer, our common victory. Dear friends, remember, we will destroy Russian evil. Yes, to protect our freedom, our common European way of life.
The Netherlands is determined to continue to support Ukraine and the Ukrainian people in their endeavor to withstand Russian aggression. We will continue to contribute substantially to enhancing Ukraine's military potential. This is one of the locations where the Netherlands prepare military goods and weapons. I can inform you that the Netherlands is supplying the ICC with a mobile laboratory for forensic research in Ukraine, so crucial for bringing those responsible to justice.
Welcome back. Mr. Zelensky has met with International Criminal Court. He says that Kiev will work to create a new tribunal to bring Russia to justice for its war in Ukraine, and that Kiev will not agree to the creation of a hybrid tribunal. He said there was already a group of 35 countries that supported the creation of a tribunal, and he adds that it was vital that Western governments deliver weapons to Kiev as quickly as possible as it fights Russia's invasion.
The most important thing now is to deliver what was promised to our soldiers as quickly as possible. And I have called on our partners, both the Netherlands and Belgium, to help us implement the agreements on military assistance as quickly as possible. But anyway, we're realistic. We know that we will not be in NATO during the war. But during the war, we want to get very clear message that we will be in NATO after the war. For me, it doesn't matter what they think. We know what they do. We see their demotivated country on the battlefield, what is very important. We don't see ever the strong army on the battlefield and a really strong society which support their steps forward. We will not negotiate with these kind of persons anything. I think that they have to think to how to change the climate in their country, to change their regime. And after that, that they can bring their society to any diplomatic possibility, yes, to finish this war. But first, what we see, we have to deoccupy our country beyond just on our borders.
In the meantime, Mr. Zelensky met International Criminal Court President for talks in The Hague. The ICC, based in The Hague, has issued a war crime arrest warrant for President Vladimir Putin of Russia for alleged deportation of children from Ukraine. But it does not have jurisdiction over alleged crimes of aggression, and the European Commission, among others, have already brought its support for the creation of a separate criminal center, international center for the prosecution of the crime of aggression in Ukraine that will be set up in The Hague. Russia is not a member of the ICC and already rejects its jurisdiction. It denies committing atrocities during its conflict with Ukraine, which it terms a special operation to demilitarize its neighbor. While it appears Mr. Zelensky is enjoying his tour as he met with King William Alexander in the Netherlands during his visit to The Hague, he called for a new international tribunal to be set up in The Hague to try Russia's leadership for crime of aggression over its invasion of Ukraine. He also reiterated calls for Ukraine to be allowed to join NATO, saying that Kiev wanted to receive a very clear message while the war is being fought that it will be part of the military alliance after the war. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Linda Thomas-Greenfield has encouraged Brazil to include Ukraine in any effort to negotiate an end to Russia's unprovoked war there. Speaking at the end of the visit to the South American country, Thomas-Greenfield expressed U.S.'s disappointment in Brasilia over the statements made regarding the war, referring to President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's comments calling on the West to stop arming Ukraine to allow peace talks to start.
Their unprovoked war on Ukraine. The relationship between the United States and Brazil is enduring. It is strong and it is built on shared values. We're not telling Brazil not to engage on peace. What we have said is that any engagement has to take Ukraine into account. And it cannot be a negotiation based on rewarding Russia for taking Ukraine territory during their unprovoked war on Ukraine.
Meanwhile, the White House dismissed Russian lies alleging the U.S. responsibility for the purported drone attack against the Kremlin. John Kirby, the White House national security spokesman, said there still was no conclusive evidence as to the authenticity of a video showing that alleged drone attack.
One thing I can tell you for certain is that the United States was not involved in this incident in any way, contrary to Mr. Peskov's lies. And that's what they are, just lies. So we're still looking at this. We haven't come to any conclusions one way or the other. We're going to try to learn more, but let's not label it a report or an investigation or anything like that. We're doing the best we can to try to find out what happened. We're still trying to ascertain exactly what happened here and do the best we can. And we're going to be humble about this, Jeremy. It may be that we'll never fully understand exactly what happened here.
Lütfen para veriyorum toplantıya. Toplantının çalışma düzenini bozan arkadaşları da lütfen dışarı çıkartın. Böyle şey olamaz. Arkadaşlar lütfen. Hayır arkadaşım olamaz böyle bir şey. Konuşamazsın. Kime söz verdiysen o konuşacak burada.
You're watching the scuffle which broke out during a gathering of Black Sea nations in the Turkish capital after a Ukrainian flag was raised during the Russian representative speech. Ukrainian delegates scuffled with security officers who tried to pull them away as they staged the protest, shouting and holding their flag next to Russia's lead delegate as she tried to address the assembly. The head of the Turkish parliament, Mustafa Şentop, issued a stiff rebuke, saying in his words, "I condemn this behavior that disrupts the peaceful environment that Turkey is trying to establish." Earlier, a Ukrainian delegate punched a Russian delegate in the face after his Ukrainian flag was snatched away to stop him photobombing a video interview with Russia's lead delegate.
Hayır arkadaşım, olamaz böyle bir şey. Konuşamazsın. Kime söz verdiysen o konuşacak burada. Bu toplantının huzurunu ve düzenini kimseye bozdurma. Lütfen. Böyle bir niyeti olan varsa dışarı çıksın. Vermedim ben, bu nasıl bir şey? Parlamentersiniz. Lütfen.